Hi you guys, and welcome to another episode of the show. I'm recording this on the 10th of September 2024. We all know what tomorrow is, don't we? I do not currently have my 9/11 decorations up. I'm probably not going to be celebrating it this year. I've celebrated it, When I say celebrated, I'm being facetious because I am a conspiracy theorist. If any of you are following me from my Facebook, then you can quite easily go to my Facebook and get a good idea of my opinions on 9/11, but I'm not going to be talking about 9/11 today. I'm going to be talking about the idea that our thoughts and our beliefs create our reality, and that's it. Everything that you believe to be true is true. I've recently been looking at the work of Neville Goddard, The Law of Assumption, which is why I've taken such a massive break from recording an episode. And you guys, I'm not sure whether I'm going to change the name of the podcast because I've been playing about and I've been thinking, what do I actually, want to do with this? But you know what, for now, we're just going to carry on rolling with this. I'm going to be talking today about my past life regression. So, here we go. Now, this actually happened a few months ago. I had a past life regression, and before I had my past life regression, I was very interested in past lives, in reincarnation. I think I was really mostly in a state of looking for answers, looking for clues. And I think what happens is when you go for your past life regression, a lot of people go for this sort of thing because it might be going through some sort of difficult time in their life. They might be looking for answers. The same reasons that people go for tarot, maybe the same reasons that people go to see psychics. Now, I had my past life regression and I absolutely loved the experience. It was very relaxing. I was there for about 3 hours. And what happened was I went in there with my story. And what do I mean by my story? Talking to the regression hypnotist about what's been going on in my life, what the problems are, the things that are getting me down and looking for answers. So essentially looking for answers outside of myself, okay? So instead of looking inside myself for answers, looking externally for answers, okay? Now, we can very often look for answers for things that have happened in this life. For example, childhood trauma. Why has my life sort of turned out the way it is now? But we can also look to past lives. If you believe in past lives, there's the concept that any past life experiences, trauma, etc., that might have happened in a previous lifetime get transferred through to this life. In an attempt for us to resolve some of the issues that we're going through, we might want to look up past lives. And the agreed consensus is that what will happen is you'll go in and you will ask for help in this life and you'll be taken through a regression scene. So you'll be hypnotized and regressed to a scene that will most clearly represent some of the blockages that you might be experiencing in this life, for example. So that could be, you might be struggling with communication, you might be having relationship problems, you might be having struggles with work or health issues, you might have a specific health issue, in fact, where you might have a problem in a certain location and you might be like, right, okay, well, is it something to do with a past life? Okay, let's have a past life regression and see if something comes up. Now, when I had my past life regression, what happens is it's very similar to just a regular hypnotherapy, basically, except that when you are put into the relaxed state, the kind of state of trance, you will be asked to go to a doorway and then begin to describe a scene. And in my past life regression, I actually came up with 2 separate scenes that had supposedly happened. And then you go through the death scenes. So that's the main thing, is that you go through the death scenes. So I went through the death scenes in both of these situations. Now, prior to me having this past life regression, I'd actually done some research. There is a podcast which I think is Past Life something. I'll link it in the show notes. And the person that does that podcast is a regression hypnotist. And what she does is she basically says that when she regresses people, especially on their first attempt, she's not sure whether, and they're not sure whether they are genuinely recounting a past life, or whether this is the imagination, whether you're just making it up, or whether it is some kind of parallel universe, kind of parallel life, okay? Because we don't know about time. We don't know what time is, space, time, what does it even mean, okay? So I had my session, and I won't go into right now what exactly I was talking about, but I personally believe that life is a fully reflective mirror, and your outer 3D reality is a direct mirror of what's going on inside of you. Everybody in your life, all your circumstances, the situations that you're in, everything is a reflection of how you think, feel and act about yourself. So if you go for a past life regression, this is just my theory now, okay? This is just what I'm saying, having had the past life regression, I don't know, 10 months ago. I think what it is, it's a reflection of where you are at that time, and it could possibly be a past life. It could I've only had one session, so I don't know. But for me, in my mind, the way that I see it is that it's more like your subconscious reflecting back to you how you are currently thinking, feeling, and acting. Anything that you say, you could possibly just be making it up, but it could be a reflection of the deep unconscious that you're feeling. So I'm actually going to go back and have another one, because I have recently had such amazing revelations due to the work that I've been doing with the law of assumption, studying Neville Goddard, and just really understanding that everything that you see in your reality is a direct reflection of who you are being, okay? So if I were to go back and have a past life regression now, I think things will be completely different, because I am really beginning to understand the concept of the world being a reflective mirror of how you're feeling inside. And tonight I've been doing some channeling, and this is going to sound really crazy to anybody listening. Maybe it's going to sound crazy, or maybe it's not going to sound crazy. I really have got no idea, but I'm just going to say what happened. So I actually channeled Jesus Christ. I don't know why I'm laughing. I channeled Jesus this evening. I was in a group meditation, and the channeler, Shirley, basically, I'll set the scene. So we sat down into relaxation, and Shirley came up with a suggestion that the group would be channeling a Greek philosopher such as Aristotle or Plato or Jesus. And as soon as I went into the meditative state, I've only done this a couple of times now. As soon as I went into the meditative state, I spoke to Jesus. I asked him if he was real. He said, yeah, of course I'm real. The facilitator told us to go to a hill and then see what happens. I went to the hill and Jesus came to me straight away. Now, I'm not saying this from a person who is deeply religious. I'm saying this as somebody who, the question of Jesus has been coming to me lately. It has been coming into my consciousness, and whether it's people sending me reels, whether it's seeing things on Facebook, I'm just going to give a view of what happened to me and what my thoughts are at the moment. And really, this episode is just, the moral of this is that everything that you believe, everything that you think, everything that you believe is true. Everything is a mirror. This is an introduction for me into the law of assumption, okay? And so I'll just tell you what happened. I went in there and Jesus met me straight away. I didn't have to wait for him. I just called upon him and he appeared. You know, I think what happens is your interpretations of what the person looks like is in direct proportion to how you want them to look. So as in, I'm white. The Christian version of Jesus is something that is acceptable to me, resonates with me. You know, I quite like the beard. I like the long hair. And so yeah, that's what I saw. Now, Jesus came to me and he was holding my head. He was saying everything's going to be fine. And the hill where I met Jesus on was made out of crystals. It was made out of purple and green crystals. We were stood on the top of a mountain. Now, this mountain kind of looked like the Grand Canyon. Now, at the end of the day, I am actually going on vacation to Arizona in December this year. So this is a projection of my vision of what I'm going to be seeing when I'm in Arizona. Okay. Anyway, so I asked Jesus, what should I do with my podcast? Shall I change the name of it? He's like, why are you asking such irrelevant questions? If you want to change the name, change the name. If you don't want to change the name, don't change the name. Do what you want. In my head, he was saying, do what the fuck you want. It doesn't really fucking make any difference, okay? I asked Jesus, what happens if I throw myself off into the abyss? You'll be fine. That's what he said. You'll be fine. He said, you'll be fine. So I'm in a group setting and I'm buzzing basically because I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually have tears coming to my eyes because I'm like, I don't really know if I believe in Jesus. And, you know, I've been around this conspiracy rabbit hole scene for a long time. A lot of people are like, Jesus doesn't exist, blah, 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 blah. I'm not like devoutly religious, but my thoughts are, at the end of the day, it's an archetype, it's a metaphor, it's an image. Maybe he really existed, who knows? Maybe he existed in many different forms, who knows? I don't know. Do I believe in the actual, like, you know, the Bible story? I think it's irrelevant because I think, you know, what it is, it's like the world is a reflective mirror. If I believe that Jesus is real, then he's real, okay? So long as you're not slamming your truth as the ultimate truth, this is where I just really think that subjective reality comes in. It is subjective. Okay, so I'll go through some of the questions that I asked Jesus when I met him this evening for the first time ever. I met Jesus. So actually, one of the things that he said to me was, I need you to go to the group after you finish this session and ask them what they think about flat Earth, whether they think the Earth is flat. And whatever they say, don't worry, like their answers are irrelevant. It's just asking, you know, it's just bringing it to their attention. But I kind of get this feeling that we're in maybe a flat realm, but also maybe like a projection of a globe type Earth. And that, so the planets that are up there, are they actual physical bodies, or are they like projections? Are they maybe physical in the kind of metaphysical sense? I've talked about this on like my previous episode where I was like talking about Dolores Cannon, but Jesus said to me, ask the group about flat Earth. I did bring it up when I was out of the meditative stay, but none of them kind of really said anything about that. Maybe I didn't give them enough time to actually sort of answer. I asked Jesus, is it true that you lived 2,000 years ago? And he said, well, you know what? I can't actually answer that because if I try and answer that, you won't be able to understand what I mean. So that tells me that the whole kind of like, yeah, it's 2,000 years ago is up for question, really. What else happened? So let me think. what else was there between me and Jesus? It was really like an intimate moment. So he was like, yeah, if you want to jump off the abyss, then just do it. If you want to change the name of your fucking podcast, then do it. And what else? Oh, yeah. So am I going to be starting a YouTube channel? Yes, I'm going to be doing that. So that's going to be coming soon. This is a really random episode, isn't it? Okay. Oh, yeah. So I asked him about the Bible. So I said, hey, there seems to be a lot of death, a lot of murder, a lot of blood, guts, gore in the Bible, just even in the first couple of chapters, really. And he was like, yeah, don't pay any attention to that. Then we got on to talking about Israel and Palestine and Jerusalem and also Gaza. And I said, what's the deal with Jerusalem, like with that area? Why should we be sort of focusing on it so much? And he was like, no, just no. You don't need to focus on it if you don't want to focus on it. And to be honest, I don't really want to focus on it, so I'm not really going to focus on that. And also I asked, okay, did you die for our sins? And he said no. So it was a lovely experience, but it just felt normal. It just felt normal, and I feel normal. Like, I'm not insane. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I'm just had a nice, pleasant, beautiful evening with some friends where we meditated and channeled, and I just so happened to meet Jesus Christ. And there we go. But the question is, am I just imagining this? Or is this something that really happened? Who fucking knows? What is reality? Is it real or is it not real? I don't know. It feels real. And I feel pretty good right now. I think that starting to realise that like reality is, like I said before, a mirror. Everything's a reflection. So how you're feeling inside is a mirror reflection of who you are being. Your 3D reality is reflecting back to you who you are being. So what's the message? Don't take everything so seriously. In the last couple of years, I've put a little bit too much of my own power into tarot and taking advice from psychics, therapists. Not saying that I don't believe that any of this is helpful. I think it can be very helpful and it can be very therapeutic in a way that, like, when you're seeking spiritual help and spiritual advice, it can be more beneficial than going to a regular therapist or a doctor. But what I've learned in the last couple of weeks is that we have the power inside us. We are the operant power in our own reality. The only thing that is real and that is important is our own subconscious mind and our subjective reality and how we see the world. Okay? So it's taken me 3 weeks to come up with a new podcast episode because my mind is changing on stuff all the time. And you know what, guys? I really am so grateful if you've made it this far. Seek these things like psychics, past life regression, tarot, even channeling to help you if they make you feel better. But don't give all of your power away to external sources. So that's where I'm going to end it today. Thank you for listening. The show is called Ascending the Abyss. Follow me on Instagram, and I will be back next week with another episode.